Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me in the locker room this afternoon. I'm Alan Locher. Emmy-nominated actor and Emmy-winning TV host Cameron Mathison is stopping by today to talk about his role as Drew Cain on ABC's General Hospital and being cancer-free for 4 years now. We will also look back at his time playing Ryan Lavery on All My Children. Cameron has appeared on screen on both television and film in Hallmark Channel originals, including At Home in Mitford, A Summer to Remember, very Valentine and Love, of course. In addition, he has starred in multiple projects for Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, including the 5 movies in the Murder, She Baked franchise, among many others. In addition to the movies, he has appeared in numerous primetime hit TV series, including Hot in Cleveland, The Drew Carey Show, CSI, JAG, Desperate Housewives, and more. And he also has a new deal with Great American Family. We'll talk about that as well. So please help me welcome to the locker room for the first time, Cameron Mathison. Hey, Cameron.
Hey, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a long time. You and I were in New York when I was working on As the World Turns and Guiding Light. It's been a very long time. Great to see you. Great to see your success. Great to hear you are cancer-free, my friend.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot.
Well, December was a big month. You know, General Hospital won Outstanding Drama Series. 4 of your cast members won. You taped the General Hospital 60 Years of Stars and Storytelling primetime special on the same day as the Emmys, I believe. And that was when you shared with Entertainment Tonight that you were cancer-free for 4 years. That's a big December.
It's funny because you're right. Like that, life is kind of crazy and you just kind of go through stuff and you don't even realize, but you're right. That was all like kind of one day. I think I did my doctor Zoom either that day or the day before too. So it was like, I got the news. So here's the deal, everybody. Back in 2019, I was diagnosed with kidney cancer. Very, very shocking and scary. And we all have a story, either hopefully not directly, but indirectly with cancer. And so that kind of took me by surprise. And so the last 4 years have been a real health journey and et cetera, et cetera. But every year, I, like many cancer survivors, do a 1-year checkup. I get my CT scans and my x-rays and my blood work and all the stuff. And so I got those results back. I think either the day of the Emmys, like the day we shot the 60th anniversary primetime special, or maybe the day before. But anyway, yeah, you're right. That's what I shared with my people at Entertainment Tonight. That's, I was a weekend co-host and correspondent at ET for 4 years. So they're my family over there at ET.
I love that. Well, let's quickly talk the primetime special. I thought, I didn't grow up on General Hospital, and I sent Frank a note. I thought you guys did a great job of, taking us through 60 years of the show. What was it? Insane and fun doing this?
Yeah, I mean, it's very cool for me because I was a fan of the show. Kind of grown up. I mean, not like a diehard fan, but was very aware of it, and knew
Did someone introduce you
more than I knew All My Children? Actually, I knew growing up in Canada. Troy, what were you saying?
Did someone introduce you to GH, or you just were aware of it?
You mean as a kid?
Yeah, you said you were.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like my parents both worked full time. Nobody in my house watched daytime. It wasn't like that. It was more that I guess. So in Canada, Young and the Restless got like primetime ratings. So it was all Y&R in Canada. It was literally all Y&R in Canada. I would say General Hospital was like a distant second, and then All My Children wasn't as, where I was anyway, wasn't as popular. So I just knew of it because after school and whatever. And when I booked All My Children, I had to do a lot of like research to find out about that show because I didn't really know much about it. But anyway, my point is, being part of such history, being on the show now for about 2.5 years, and working with these people that I've admired and known really since 1997, a lot of them, has been pretty cool. So it was nice to be involved at all. Like, I mean, as a relative newcomer on the show. It was very, very cool to be included and to do that fun scene with the fans. Obviously, that was near and dear to my heart, just being, appreciative of everybody that watches the show, watches all of these shows through the years. So yeah, it was really fun. There's a lot of people that came back, and it was nice to see it kind of all put together too. And then of course announcing Steve coming back too, which was really fun.
Yeah. Well, talk about a great surprise at the end of that special.
Exactly.
Are you looking forward to having him there?
Say that one more time.
Are you looking forward to having Steve Burton back?
Yeah, I've overlapped with them now one day, I think. I mean, we haven't worked together, but he's already been back, and he's there, and the place is abuzz with excitement to have him. He's Steve. Everybody there. He's like a OG.
Well,
he's the man.
And he's Drew's brother.
And I mean, yeah, selfishly, I'm super. No, truthfully, selfishly, I'm excited because I really love Steve. We get along very well. We have a lot of things in common. Obviously, I'm talking to you from my home gym. This probably pales in comparison to what Steve works out at, but this is just my home version. But we have a lot of other things in common too. And then obviously, selfishly, as an actor and as a guy playing Drew Cain, as a quartermain, he's my twin brother. And, Drew theoretically has a lot of Jason's memories, and there's a lot of connection there. That's a lot of potential. I don't know what the plan is, but there's a lot of potential there. So yeah, I'm super excited that he's back, both personally and professionally.
That's awesome. Well, before we jump further into GH, the Emmys was a great night for GH. It was a great night. You were there to watch your dear friend Susan get her Lifetime Achievement Award.
I sure did.
What was that like?
Yeah, I love Susan, and we were good friends, and I was good friends with her late husband, Helmut, and her kids, and played golf with them, and I've skied with them, and I've, and it's not like we see each other very often or talk that often now, but whenever we see each other, it all comes back. A night like that where she's being honored Lifetime Achievement Award. I don't know. I was like a little kid. Oh, did we just lose me?
No, I see you.
Okay, yeah. Good. Sorry. My screen went out. But anyway, I was like a kid in a candy store. I was giddy. I was excited. I think I was loud because she kind of pointed me out and called me out. Yeah, it was pretty special. It was really,
it's really fun to see friends be rewarded in that way, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, and well-deserved, and such an icon, and always so professional and fun. And, for those that watched All My Children, there was like 5 minutes where Ryan and Erica had a little fling, had a little like kind of cool little storyline, which I loved and everybody else hated, but I loved it. I thought it was super fun, and I'll hold on to that in my heart. I told Susan that night, I said, you may have the Lifetime Achievement Award, but then I showed her a picture of us making out on set. I was like, but I have this.
That's fantastic. Well, take me back. 2021. How did the role of Drew come about?
That's a really good question. And it came about I'll give the quickest version possible. I was a very, very new actor. I was living in Toronto, and I was working on a movie called Studio 54, actually technically called 54, with Nev Campbell and Ryan Phillippe and Mike Myers and Nev Campbell, etc. And I was a local hire, but I was on that movie. I was playing the main bartender with Ryan. And I had a long weekend. I had a Friday off, and I went to New York to visit my friends in New York for the weekend. I had just bought a whole loft condo downtown Toronto. I was like, I had no intentions of moving to New York. And I wanted to write off the trip. I wanted to make it a business trip. So I went into and I found an acting agent in New York. It was called, oh no, that's not good. There's Brett Adams. Oh my God. Anyway, I went to see an acting agent, and I just sort of said, hey, I'm Cameron. I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm this guy in Toronto, and how you doing? And I'm thinking of moving to New York, but I really wasn't. And they were like, well, we want to, see our friend Judy Wilson and All My Children. We think you got something special, whatever. And I was like, I got to go out with my buddies tonight. I don't know if I was like, fine, sure. I'll go see Judy Wilson. I went and met Judy. I was, I guess, super confident and cocky because, everybody out there, when you want something super badly, it's sometimes you get a little desperate and it's not a good energy. But when you really don't think it's a possibility, like I really genuinely didn't think that I was moving to New York and I was going to be on All My Children. So I was super relaxed, super confident. And I think Judy loved it, and she's like, here, take this scene. I want you to go take 5 minutes and I want to put you on tape. So that's called a cold read, everybody. It's cold because you don't have a lot of time to take it home and prepare and et cetera. So I did a cold audition or a cold read for Judy. She put it on tape. I have a copy of that audition. And I left. And then a couple weeks later, she showed it to the executive producer, Francesca James, and I got a screen test out of nowhere. And I was the only one screen testing. They wrote the part for me. I was shirtless in my screen test. It was with Esther Tannenbaum, who played Jillian on the show. And I booked it, and I moved to New York, and it changed my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you remember your first day on set?
I do. I played a con artist, and I was in a big bus accident. It was a snowstorm. It was January. We shot it in December of 1997, aired in January, big snowstorm. It was the craziness in the hospital, and Teresa was there, and Jake and everybody, all the doctors. I remember Edmund was there. Can't remember why. But anyway, I come in as somebody that was trying to scam insurance for because I was pretending like I was in the bus accident, but I really wasn't. Like I injured myself. And I remember on that day, I came in, I had a winter jacket on and I had a scarf on, and I did the scene, and the director was like, okay, that's good. We're going to do it again. This time I want you to unbutton one more button on your shirt, get that kind of a vibe. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Okay. So we did it again, with that button. He's like, great. All right. That's awesome. Let's do one more button. All right. We're going to do it again. One more button. So it kept open more and more and more as the scene went on. Meanwhile, I'm coming out of a snowstorm in January with a winter coat and a scarf on with my shirt unbuttoned to my belly button. And meanwhile, for me, I was like, fine, man, whatever you want. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. I didn't even think twice. And I should have realized what I was getting myself into from that point on.
You said yes on day one.
Yeah,
Trouble.
Kind of setting the precedent. Yeah. And I know that I moved, and now that I'm in the mirror here and you can see there, I hope that's not distracting.
No, I love it. No, don't worry about it.
So I got to keep going this way.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Was there someone who took you under their wing when you first got there? I mean, you weren't expecting this job at all. You didn't go to New York looking. Was there someone who helped navigate the ropes?
Well, I had a great acting coach. They set me up with Tanya Berezin, who lives and works in New York City, and she was a godsend and helped me out a lot. But also on set, I know you're probably asking more actors. I remember Michael Knight. My second day on set, I was with Michael Knight, and I think the character of Ryan reminded him a little bit of the old Tab the Cat. So if Michael's watching this, I'll call him out on it. I don't mind saying it because I love him dearly. He's a dear friend of mine. But he wasn't the best to me on set. Like I was having a little trouble, and he was a little impatient. And he was putting the pressure on, and I'll tell him flat to his face about, and so I was getting nervous, and he was like, it's really simple, man. You just got to say the lines, move. Like he was kind of being hard on me, but I think what it was, I know what it was, that he saw this young guy coming on playing kind of a version of Tab the Cad. He had already been transformed into Mr. Nice Guy already and lost that kind of edge. And, and I think he was, I don't know. But anyway, I wonder if after that he felt a little guilty for that day because it was he wasn't the most helpful.
Okay.
But after that he was very lovely, and I didn't work again. I only worked 2 days before Christmas, and then I worked again in January. And he invited me to his Christmas party with Catherine Hicklin at the time, and introduced me to a bunch of people. And then on set was very, very helpful. I remember, so Michael Knight was really kind after that first appearance. And then David Canary, whether he realized it or not, was super helpful to me. I just would watch him and watch how prepared he would come and how kind he was to everybody and how humble he was. I really appreciated him. He was, whether he realized it or not, he was a little bit of a mentor for me. I'm probably forgetting who else helped me.
Well, I love when you mentioned Tanya, your coach, you had a big smile. Was there something, what triggered that smile in your head? It's like you thought of something, when
it was magical times. It was a magical, hopefully we all have those moments in our life that we look back at, and it was like, just imagine, I was this green actor. I moved to New York with a job on a network show on All My Children. I was learning to act while getting paid for it. And Tanya was my light. You know what I mean? She was helping me understand how it all worked. She was helping me understand how quick it was going to be. She was helping me understand the importance of knowing my material, but not getting locked into how I'm going to deliver it and all that stuff. She was helping me understand how important it is just to be authentic, grounded, to listen, to react naturally. She was a theater actress. Almost just wiped out live.
Don't do that.
Yeah, she was helping me. So many, there were so many things, and it was me, T.C. Warner, Esther Tannenbaum, and Danny Cosgrove. There was the four of us. That was the kids' storyline, and it just has an unbelievably special meaning to me in my heart. We all would. I think most of us, except for maybe Danny, were taking lessons classes with Tanya. Maybe Danny was there, and it was just one of the highlights of my young life.
No, I was very blessed to work with Danny at Guiding Light. If there's one person who can make you laugh, it's Danny Cosgrove.
Man, that guy was funny.
Funny.
We can hardly get it done. What would happen is the four of us would do these scenes together, and Danny was so funny that we would all be cracking up hysterically, and they'd say over the loudspeaker. Usually it was Conal O'Brien. He would say, either you guys get it together or we're moving your scenes to the end of the day. It's up to you, because we couldn't do it. We couldn't get it done. He was too funny.
He really is one of the funniest. Well, it is Valentine's Day, and Ryan Lavery definitely had his fair share of women. So tell me what comes to mind when I say some of your leading ladies. Esther Tannenbaum.
Yeah, I got to start. Yeah, Esther Tannenbaum is just, again, part of that magical time in my memories, in my life, a transformative, the beginning of this big new chapter of my life, huge new chapter. I was a civil engineer, and I was going to MBA school, and I stumbled into modeling and acting, and then all of a sudden I went to New York for a weekend, like I said, and then I'm living in New York. So she was part of that memory, and we had a really, really, really beautiful chemistry. And recently we reconnected. We've reconnected a few times through the years, but recently we reconnected because my dog was sick, and Esther has a unbelievable ability to connect with animals, and she helped me so much. My dog had cancer and he was paralyzed. It was very, very hard, and I really didn't want to put him down because cognitively he was totally fine. He was still my guy, and it was unbelievable. And I'll just tell this quick story. She said I had this great way with healing animals, and I'm like, okay, sure, Esther, whatever. That sounds nice. Can you just take him for a few days and give me a break because I'm going bananas over here? And she took him for a few days, and even that was kind. And this is a 100-pound Doberman, and she's like this beautiful frame, she takes him for 3 days. He's not walking. His back legs are totally paralyzed. He's got cancer in his spine. And he comes back, and about 5 days later, he starts walking again. And he had been not walking for a month. It wasn't just 2 days. And I don't know what kind of magic she's doing over. I don't know what happened, Esther, but you are magical, and you're magical in my life, and you helped Red have a good life for another 6 months or so after that. He was walking, but it was Pirates of the Caribbean. It was like Captain Jack Sparrow walking, like kind of drunk walking, but still, man, he was up and moving around, and it was because of her. So, anyways, I love her dearly.
I mean, it really is amazing. I mean, you talk about, you were going for your MBA, and you went on this trip to New York that really changed your life. It's like timing is crazy.
Like it was not in my cards. It was there was no part of me, like I'd always dreamed of being an actor, but I was painfully shy. I couldn't, my God, I couldn't think about being up in front of people and doing stuff that I was doing. And I guess modeling for a few years, if nothing else, got me comfortable in front of the camera a little bit, and then, started studying in Toronto, acting a little bit and booking roles there. And it's just crazy to me. And then, yeah, like you say, out of nowhere, I go to New York to visit my buddies for the weekend to party. And I want to write off the trip, see an agent. They send me to Judy Wilson. She gets me on tape. They put me into a screen test. Boom. I changed my life there 14 years. So like crazy.
Crazy. Let's move on to Rebecca Budig.
Yeah. Well, Rebecca Budig is like one of my best friends in the whole world still. I love her unconditionally. She's amazing. She's incredibly good to me. And we've been through a lot together. We've known each other for 25 years. And I'm secretly or not so secretly pitching to do a movie with her. We can talk more about that later, but I'd love to get back on screen with her. I know we missed each other at General Hospital, but you never know. But on a personal level, there's very few people that are as close to my heart as Rebecca.
No, that would be amazing. Melissa Claire Egan.
Yeah, same. Like she and I actually might keep in touch even, as much as Rebecca. Like she's just a ball of energy and love and support, and is like funny. And we also, back at All My Children, went through some stuff at the same time. Like that's the thing that people don't know because they're just watching the show and they're like, oh, these two have chemistry. But our personal lives were like hers was a disaster and I helped her through it, and then mine was a disaster and she helped me through it. And then when you do that, like you've got this bond, and we've just stayed in touch. And she's in such an unbelievably, both Rebecca and her and Esther are in such an unbelievably good place in their lives. It makes me so happy.
That's awesome. And lastly, but I know there were more, Alicia Minshew.
Yeah, well, Alicia is, she's just like maybe one of the funniest people. I don't even know if she knows that she's this funny, but she's one of the funniest people that I still connect with. And we don't see each other. We haven't seen each other in years, but we text all the time. I'll get like a 5-minute voice message from Alicia, and she'll ramble on, and she'll just, it's like if I didn't know better, I think she was drunk. But she's not. Like I know she's not drunk. She's the healthy. You think I'm healthy? She's a million times healthier than me. And she just sent me a blooper reel 2 days ago. So it was a chat between me, Melissa, and Alicia, and we were like, it's just amazing. She's an incredible human, and I know she's so talented. And I'd love to get on screen with her again too someday, somehow. Forget that. I'd love just to see her. I'd love to connect with her in person at some point.
People who make you laugh are good people to keep around, aren't they?
Let me just say the one thing about Alicia. I'm going to remind everybody, I've said this story before, but her screen test, I screen tested her at All My Children, which is basically they put you on the studio and they film you. And so Alicia, I had the job already, but we were testing Alicia, and in the scene we had to make out. They were doing the chemistry test. And so, but for people that don't know this, and so she don't really use your tongue. It's just like gentle, nice kiss, lips, whatever. So in the screen test, I swear to God, Alicia tried to clean my tonsils with her tongue. Like she just I could barely breathe. Her tongue was so far down my throat. They called cut, and then over the loudspeaker, I think he said that. I think Connell was like, well, now that his tonsils are clean, let's try it again. A little less tongue, please, Alicia. But she's this minister's daughter, good girl.
She wanted the job.
Yeah. Well, she got it.
Well, 2021, almost 10 years since All My Children went off, the role of Drew Cain came about. How did they lure you back to Daytime?
I actually put the feelers out first. So Frank Valentini and I have remained friends since the New York days when I don't remember exactly what his position was when I started in 1997 at One Life, but I knew him then. I think like a producer, but not exec producer. And then did sprinkles just come over my head?
Yeah, I don't know what. Did you do something?
I
don't know what just happened. Did I do something? I've never seen that before. It looked like fireworks, and it looked like fireworks in your background.
So Frank and I remained friendly. I work a lot as a TV host too. So in the 10 years since All My Children in General Hospital, other than the Hallmark and other TV movies, Great American Movies, I worked predominantly as a host on Good Morning America, on Entertainment Tonight, and then on a talk show called Home and Family on Hallmark Channel. I co-hosted with Debbie Mathison for 4 years. And it was COVID. And we got word that the show was going to go from a 5-day show to shooting all 5 episodes in 3 days. And being around for a minute, I knew that wasn't a good sign. And I also knew that I was going to have these 2 days a week in LA. Like I wouldn't be able to travel. I wouldn't be able to turn it into another Hallmark movie because I had 3 days in LA and I got 2. So I just texted Frank. I said, hey, listen, Frank, it looks like Home and Family. Because we've had GH stars on Home and Family while I was there, like Laura and son. Like Frank was coming to set and like he knew I was there. So I said, look, Home and Family is going to 3 days a week. I've got 2 days a week available. I don't know. I've always loved your show. I've always wanted to get back and work with you because I did some things with Frank back in the day. And if there's anything that you can think of, a little story arc, I'd love to be over there. And Frank texted me back right away. He goes, I love the idea. I'm going to pitch it to the writers, but we would need you like full time. Like, we'll work around your schedule, but we want it like a real character, not just like and I'm like, I'm in. So now I'm thinking to myself, what have I done? Am I going to be able to handle both? Like Home and Family, like now, Home and Family knows nothing about this. Right. I didn't even mention to Home and Family, but I'm like, Frank, I'm in. Let's do this. And Frank's like, well, let me work on it, whatever. And then I just sort of sat back and I didn't know anything at that point, but I knew he was working on it. And he said, it's happening. More or less like he said, it's happening. Nothing was locked in, and I'm still thinking to myself, how am I going to make this happen? And then Home and Family got canceled like 3 weeks later. And I was convinced that Frank probably thought that I knew we were getting canceled, but I didn't. I thought I was going to have to juggle. But then Home and Family got canceled because during COVID, and there were some changes over there. By the way, Home and Family was probably, I don't want to say this because I got GH and All My Children, but it was tied for my favorite job that I've ever had in my whole life. But anyway, it got canceled. And then I was basically full-time at General Hospital. And Home and Family got canceled. I shot one of the Murder, She Baked movies, the Hannah Swenson movies up in Canada, and then started on General Hospital as soon as I got back. So it was crazy. It's crazy.
Wow. What do you love about Drew? And how would you describe who Drew is for those who may not know?
Yeah, Drew Cain is he's a badass. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. He's a quartermain. He's an amazing guy who does a lot of really, really great things for the right reasons, and sometimes some tricky things also he believes for the right reasons. He's got he'll do anything for his family and for his friends. And I love a lot about him. I love all those things about him. I love that my first 2 months on the show, I was trapped in prison in Greece, and I was fighting and beating people up and escaping and shooting Uzis and jumping off cliffs into like water. And meanwhile, like cut to me on my Hallmark movies or my Great American movies, giving Christmas presents and making snow angels and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I love how badass he is. Am I allowed to say that? I think I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love, I think his time with Carly now, I love that he gets to work with a lot of incredible people. I love how interwoven he is into the storyline. I can't talk about
working with some pals of mine. Laura Wright and Cynthia Watros. Talk about working opposite Laura Maurice, Cynthia.
I don't know if I have the words, to be honest. I'll start with Laura because I've worked with her mostly in the last year or so. And she's one of the most incredible humans that I've had a chance to meet and work with. I feel like I've been so lucky on set to be able to work with such a force and unbelievable actress. I think I've been lucky enough to work with 2 Oscar winners in my day on films, Mira Sorvino and Bonnie Bedelia. And I got to tell you, man, Laura is like, I don't know, dude, like she's as good as anything that anybody that I've ever worked with. So professionally, what a treat and what a joy. And but personally, I feel like I've I've met and connected with a new lifelong, very, very, very dear friend. It's been a challenging time in my life since I started on GH for various reasons. I won't bring the podcast down, but she has been there for me, for somebody that I just basically, like, I mean, we've met, obviously we've known each other for 20 years, but she's been amazing. So I love working with her. Now, Cynthia is one of the sweetest and most talented and most prepared actors I've ever worked with in my life. She comes to blocking off book. Like, we're talking 30, 40 pages a day, people. It's incredible. And she's amazing. And I really respect that. I love that she works like that. I mean, everybody's a little different in that context, but she's amazing. And I feel like we have a lot in common. I would really love us to work together. I know if you guys watch General Hospital, Drew and Nina aren't exactly warm and fuzzy right now, and
No.
lovey-dovey, but good, great. Like, bring it on. Let's see where it goes, man. Like, I love it. Like this, and then working with Maurice. Listen, the guy is, I mean, it's everything everybody says. It's everything everybody says. He is brilliant. Don't tell him this. You know what I mean? Like, Mo, if you're watching this, just turn it off, because it's like you're annoying to hear this again. But he's brilliant. I love watching him. I love working with him. I love seeing what he does with words on a page. And as a human, I've really loved to get to know him a little bit in the last 2.5 years and doing a show. And I'm talking about mental health and, all the things that he's doing to help spreading awareness. I mean, it sounds like I'm just kind of fluffing everything, but this is absolutely genuinely true. And I love these people, both personally and professionally, and I feel so grateful.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Laura and Cynthia, I know personally. I don't know Maurice. All I've heard is great stuff. So, pretty.
Oh, of course,
pretty
you know Laura and Cynthia. What am I talking about? I didn't even think of that. I'm just moving. I'm moving. God, I'm fighting the light here, team.
No, you're good. You're good. Well, as we started the show, 4 years cancer free, and I just want to bring it up again, because I think what I didn't realize about your cancer and you being diagnosed was that you found out because of a fluke, and you were doing your own sort of health due diligence. And I think it's important for people to hear that, so they understand, what you did, how you learned of it. And we, preventing things, or preventative medicine, is the best way we can all focus on our health.
No, Alan, that's such a, I mean, I appreciate you bringing it up, because if anything, I shared my story, whatever, doing the interview, you know what I mean? We do our thing out there, and that can be misinterpreted. But my whole point of doing that was, for you asking a question like this, in the sense that, like you say, we have to be our own best advocate for our health. And I'm a big health and fitness guy and longevity, and I've done it all. And I've tried the diets and the workouts and the lifestyle changes, and et cetera. And then I do a lot of testing. I do things like blood work, checking hormone levels, checking certain blood levels. I do gut work. I check my gut test. I do all sorts of things. It's just, I like to function the best I can, I like to feel the best I can. I mean, obviously you've been on TV, you try to look your best. And when I was doing that for years, some of my blood work was very confusing. I was like, oh, man, that's so weird. My white blood cell count is so off like that. That's odd. such a healthy guy. There's other markers too. I can't remember what the markers were, but that gave like red flags. So I went to my doctor. I said, should I get an MRI? Because those are the indications that I could be struggling with cancer. And he's like, you don't have cancer. That's fine. It could be a lot of things. It could be this, that, and the other thing. I was like, okay, cool. Years went by. I did more blood work. And I'm telling you right now, I couldn't have been like more organic, more, healthy, more active, more eat. Like I was just doing everything I could. And yet my blood work was still really off. So finally, I kind of convinced my doctor to give me an MRI. I don't think I convinced him. That's not true. But I asked him again. He's like, sure, if it makes you feel better, let's do it. And he was right. It was very unlikely, but we decided to do it. And they found kidney cancer. And it saved my life because it had been growing for about 8 years in me. They found minimum 8 years, maybe longer. And in those 8 years, it didn't have the energy to spread. So kidney cancer is, quite manageable if it doesn't spread into your lymph nodes, into your lungs, et cetera. That's when it gets really, really tricky, and it's a whole different diagnosis. So because I was so healthy, they believe that because I was so healthy, it didn't have the energy and the power to spread like that. But I mean, eventually it was going to spread, right? So the fact that I caught it probably saved my life. And I just like to share that story.
Check it out. Not that you really, you just said 8 years. It's not that you really caught it that early, I would think, right? That's not, I don't know if in kidney cancer, is that, 8 years seems like a long time that it was in there. So possibly in somebody who doesn't take good care of themselves like you did, it might have grown and become more detrimental to someone's health. Yeah,
absolutely. Like 100%. So it's known to be a very slow growing tumor. But even still, obviously spreading, depending on how unhealthy you are, your level of toxins, your lifestyle, your tendencies, your genetic makeup, all are factors in whether it spreads. So I like to think, and I think the doctors also believe that my healthy lifestyle helped it from spreading. So yeah, 8 years is not, and by the way, it could have been 12. Like it was 8 to 12 years. I just say 8 years because people probably, like I can't fathom that it was in me for 12 years. But like it's it definitely could have / should have spread by that time.
Wow. Well, sadly, both of us are in the same boat in that we lost our mothers to cancer. My mother to lung cancer. Thank you. And I'm incredibly sorry to you because this happened relatively while you were going through this battle yourself, your mom, right?
Alan, I'm so, sorry, mine. When did you lose
my mom, 2007. It's 16 years. Yeah.
And you said lung cancer?
Lung. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tough. Yeah. And so you understand why.
Oh.
So kidney cancer spreads to lungs or lymph nodes first. Those are the places it goes. And well, I don't need to tell you. So yes, my mom. So I had my surgery, and then 4 months later, my mom had cancer at that time, but she was diagnosed 4 months later with multiple myeloma. No, excuse me, multiple myeloma is that's embarrassing. Is Vanessa's dad had that. My mom had glioblastoma, which is a form of brain cancer, and no brain cancer is good, but that is especially not a good form of brain cancer. So it was lousy, and she's an incredible woman, and she fought really, really hard, and it's just there's no I think no good stories with that particular cancer. You know what I mean? You don't hear that person who's lived 15 years with glioblastoma. So anyway,
sharing your story, your mother's story, you are helping people.
That's my goal. That's 100% my goal and my intention for doing that. Sorry, I just got a little distracted there on the side.
That's okay.
But the whole reason that I share these things on Instagram or do the interviews or do anything is only, I'm a part of different cancer foundations, and I've hosted certain cancer benefits, and I was on Millionaire, who wants to be a millionaire, donating my money to get, we all do it. Like, we've all got our different versions of that. But the whole reason is to spread awareness and to help others. And, if it makes people go and check their blood work just one time, then it's a success. If it helps people, just kind of say, hey, this doesn't quite feel quite right. Maybe I don't understand why this isn't going away. Just check it out. Doesn't mean that we're all hypochondriacs out there. Doesn't mean that we all need to run out and get MRIs. But at the same time, be aware, listen to your body. It could save your life. It really could.
Well, I appreciate you sharing, because I do think it's important. That's a lot to go through, yourself, let alone, and then your mother. I know meditation plays an important role in your life. What helped guide you through those days? Or is there something else you could share that might help other people going through a similar journey?
So meditation in context, or with a spiritual life, with it was a super. I mean, I don't know how I would have done it otherwise. Like, I think there's a lot of people that misunderstand when you hear the word meditation. They think it's just blanking the mind out and like calming down, and that's a beautiful aspect of meditation and great. But you can use going deep in meditation to help things like improving your love and sense of equanimity and connecting with others. You can do it to help improve your compassion. You can use it to help your ability to develop respect and in kindness and patience, and reduce anxiety and depression. And it can be an extremely powerful tool to incorporate, certain psychologies and philosophies, usually of spiritual base, into your heart, and to really make inner changes in your life. And so those inner changes are what helped me deal with the immense challenges I had at potentially, not knowing if I was going to survive, and et cetera. And one of them being, to your point, is, thinking about others. So it's so easy to get caught up in, what about me? Me. I've got cancer. I'm dying. My kids, my life. And of course, we got to take care of ourselves and do what we can, and see doctors and things. But what helped my mind? So you got to take care of the body, and that's how you take care of the body. Get help with doctors and eat healthy and do what you got to do and get cut out and do your surgery, and chemo, whatever it is. And then your mind. So there's two aspects, and it's how you relate to it. So by developing compassion and love for others that are also suffering with cancer, that are going through it way worse than myself. And motivating and using that love and that compassion, that connecting with others, to motivate myself to try to help them in any way I can, completely transform the fear and anxiety and unknown. Because I was thinking about anybody who lives a spiritual life knows this. It's the foundation of a spiritual life. It's to get your attention off the what about me and onto what about you? What can I do for you? And that was and there's a lot of other things that I did to help with this fear and the anxiety of going through cancer. But that was the real foundation, to really recognize how fortunate I am, to have this experience. I have great doctors. I have insurance. I have things. I have family and support. Whether I make it or I don't make it through this, I gave it a good shot, and I got very lucky. But so many people don't have even that foundation. And so what can you do by spreading awareness, by trying to help them, praying, loving them? It has a powerful, powerful effect on the mind.
Thank you for sharing. Your son Lucas turns 21, I believe, this April, and Layla turns 18 in July. How has that's crazy, by the way. How has fatherhood changed your life?
Yeah, I don't know if we were ever at an event together where they were with me, but if we were, they were probably like, I was probably holding them in each arm last, you know what I mean, in New York back in the day.
Yeah.
It changed it in that way that I just spoke of a little bit. I don't know if you're going to be editing this up or not, but I think I lived a pretty selfish life. I think, being it's easy to get caught up in the selfish land of an actor, of being on TV, in the what about me mind. And that was my first real, obviously not entirely, but on some level. but it was my first real step into the world of these two people are the most important thing in the world to me. Not me anymore, them. And that was a beautiful, liberating feeling. Like that was the first step of being like, oh my gosh, it's actually like the best thing in the world, not to be so hyper-focused on oneself and to think about others and pure love. And so it changed it in that way. It just gave it was just in an instant, these two little, in a sense, strangers coming into the world, not strangers because they're a part of you, but strangers from one perspective, become the most important thing. And it gives your life immense meaning. Doesn't mean it's the only way to have meaning in your life, obviously, but it's definitely a really nice one.
Any inkling that either one of them might follow in Dad's footsteps?
Yeah, definitely not. They're both artists. They're both creative. My son wants to get into fashion design. He's outrageously talented.
Oh, wow.
He is getting into fashion design. And he's also playing in a really legit band here called Dagger Polyester and the Gay Agenda here in Los Angeles. They're an amazing, amazing glam rock punk band. Think like David Bowie meets like Iggy Pop. I don't know. I hope that's not an insult to the band. That's sort of like
wow.
And they're amazing, and so he's very, very, very creative. And then my daughter is a singer and a piano player, and so she's very creative, but not in the acting world, no.
Awesome. Before I let you go, you mentioned Home and Family being this, special, holding such a special place in your heart. You did it for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I guess technically 4 years, but I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. COVID messed it all up. So 3 to 4 years.
Is there a favorite person you sat down opposite to have a conversation with?
Ooh. That's a good one. Because my Entertainment Tonight and Good Morning America days where I got to meet a lot of pretty cool people.
A lot of people. It blends too.
But your question's good because Home and Family had a different type of guest on that show. We were more positive, upbeat show, not getting into celebrity gossip. I mean, gosh, I got to have a good answer to this because there is an answer to this. I'll say this. He's a friend of mine now, and it was through my cancer journey, and his name is Dr. Jockers, Dr. David Jockers. And people like him, but he was a very, very key person in my detox element of my cancer journey. And we had him on a guest, and we talked for many, many months about coming on the show. We booked him on the show months in advance. When he came on the show, I was literally like 5 days out.
Sorry.
I was 5 days out from surgery. So he was a really special guest. I'll say him because he's a special place in my heart. So Dr. David Jockers, follow him on Instagram. He's a good man.
And was there since you mentioned ET and GMA, did starstruck over anybody?
I mean, not many, but I'll say a few. Scarlett Johansson really had my heart. She probably did this with everybody. Probably had nothing to do with me, but she was very, very flirty with me and kind. And I mean, she probably wasn't flirty. She's just probably her, charming and lovely. But I took it as flirty, and that just kind of like, I don't know, man. I thought I'm amazed that I got words out with her. Halle Berry, same idea. Very smitten with Halle Berry. Both super kind and nice, and they could tell. And then another really favorite interview of mine. It was at Entertainment Tonight. God, so many. I was interviewing the young man who played Han Solo in the new movie, and we had planned in this interview that Harrison Ford and Ron Howard would sneak in the back of the interview and crash the interview. So I'm there with Harrison Ford, the new Han Solo, Ron Howard. I'm like directing the whole, like it was literally like a mind-blowing experience. That was amazing to me. And then I don't know why this one stands out too. Jennifer Aniston and Jason Bateman, I got to sit down with both of them too. And they're both, I can't keep up with, like, they're both so quick and so witty and so talented and so amazing and so funny. And it popped into my mind, so that's the one I'm going to share. So there's, and then another others. Those are a bunch. Those are a bunch.
Cameron, it is so good to.
I'm just going to say this last one. Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth on the jet, on the Avengers jet in London on set. Like, what? Like, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I'm sorry.
Like the kid in Cameron can't believe that he's doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Cameron, I'm going to sign off, but stay here. I want to tell you something quickly backstage.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Cameron, weekdays on General Hospital on ABC, 3 o'clock Eastern. Thanks for joining me, Cameron. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Please join me tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern when Kim Zimmer and her son, Jake Weary, join me live. And then on Friday, come celebrate the 40th anniversary of Greg and Jenny from All My Children. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do so down below. Turn on notifications for reminders of all upcoming shows. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great evening. And as always, please, please stay safe.